This is 89.7 FM. Broadcasting live 24 hours a day. 89.7 FM.
Tonight, interesting show. Speaking about social media.
You know what? Today I feel like I'm at home. You know, I love being on social media so
It's your
much.
thing, right?
It's my thing.
It's our thing as the youth. It's our thing as the youth. And sometimes we get it a bit tangled up. We get into interesting situations because of this social media thing. The Matthew Phineas situation happened over the week.
God.
That is a racism topic that perhaps we'll save for next week, but it is linked to tonight's topic because we're going to talk about how to handle social media, you know,
It
our
seems
various
so,
experiences.
it seems like some people don't know how to handle themselves on social media. Or it's a portrayal of themselves, rather.
No, but what about freedom of expression also?
Ish.
Okay, to talk about that, we got Siyanda Makhubo, who's the former SRC president, and we've also got Joseph Minde, who's a specialist in social media. We will be chatting to them just now.
Yep.
Motion. Tonight, that was Tandiswa Zabalaza, and we are zabalazing on social networks. Siyanda Mod,
Hi, sis.
how are you?
Critical but stable in yourself.
I'm poetic but mad. Thank you.
Yes.
It's good to have you in studio.
Oh, good to
Thank
be
you
with
so much for coming
Yes.
through. With speaking social media, please feel free, be comfortable. Anything you say will not be is not what's our disclaimer?
It will not be used against you.
Will not be used against you. It does not represent the views of the radio station. Be yourself.
Sure.
We won't fire you. I mean, for the listeners who don't know, do you want to briefly tell us about your experience?
Sure. I was the SRC president last year, and it was a very interesting year last year. For the first time at Rhodes University, we had a real political climate. You know, we've never really had. We've always had the purple bubble on campus. So for the first time, we were exposed to what was happening throughout the country, especially with student movements, and a boil over with Rhodes Must Fall, particularly, because while everyone was saying Rhodes Must Fall at UCT, everyone was asking, wait, what about Rhodes University?
Exactly.
Because they bear the name. So it fell over to us, and when it happened, we were at an SRC retreat, basically having a refresher on the year plan, what's going to be happening with each portfolio. And Facebook went out and things were boiling over the notorious SRC page. And as an SRC, we then had to switch the entire camp onto Rhodes Must Fall.
Okay.
And so
So
we
it was
returned.
completely unexpected.
Unexpected, yeah.
You're just doing the normal thing, and
Yeah.
then you check on social networks and you see
Yeah.
Rhodes Must Fall is happening.
Yeah, and we had to come back onto campus, and the situation was intense, and as an SRC we weren't equipped. As I said, the purple bubble. Our mantra last year was students remain central. I'm happy that the SRC of this year is adopting that again. But ASCO up. And it was then taken, students remain central, purple bubble, purple family, everyone's home. And then we weren't equipped to deal with that situation. There was no precedent on how a previous SRC dealt with that, so we were the first SRC. And then social media went on a buzz, and things went on. And then around May, after Black Students Movement became a necessary voice on campus, they were championing issues of decolonize the institution, institutional culture, the questioning institutional culture, and it was a very tough time as an SRC because we're an apolitical SRC. Personally, my stance on political ideology is that I'm a pan-Africanist, and someone else was a neutral, someone else was a right radical and left, and 15 individuals, and we had to take a stance as an SRC about the name change. Personally, as a Pan-Africanist, thank God I can say this today, I was always advocating for pro-name change, but we had to be considerate of the SRC with the student body we're representing, who elected us. A neutral student body. So we weren't clear. We had no political ideology. We had no political stance. It was very difficult as opposed to an SRC that is SASCO. They have a political ideology already on the SRC. Okay. So it was very difficult to maneuver around that. So around May, Umuntu uba nenhliziyo encane, and around at
Yeah.
that time I had already had it. And we had assisted students throughout the entire year with DPs and with exclusions and financial exclusions, the normal SLC work. And I just had it. I was sitting in a contract law lecture last year, and I saw students complaining about how the SLC is inefficient with dealing with DPs because it's around DP season, May, leading on to exams. And I tweeted on my tweet account, Sir Makhubo, that's my handle. And I said, I might be making a mistake here. I remember saying, some of you stay throwing spice and shade onto the SRC, but we stay helping you when your DPs are removed. But hey, hashtag Ulaifunjalo was friends. And that trended for I think 3 days, number one spot
why
in
you
the
got
country.
into trouble?
And I was called to resign. I was asked to resign. And, the political atmosphere of the SRC then advised that I resign, and I stepped down on the 26th of May 2015.
Can I bring Joseph Minde into
Yeah.
the conversation roundabout
Yes.
now? Because I should have been fired many times over
Many
by
times.
now. many times.
Yeah.
Do you think this was fair?
Ultimately, I think he resigned because of the pressure to resign, not necessarily because the institution told him you have to resign. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, well, like I said, and it's very important when I said in my preamble, the political situation. No one did understand how to deal with anything at that time. So all it took was a tweet.
Yeah.
It wasn't
you
even
were
hard
almost like
40
the
characters.
scapegoat.
Yes,
For everything that
precisely.
was happening.
And did I resign because of the tweet? No. That's the most ridiculous thing one could have ever resigned. But a number of issues led to the resignation. Number one, my own personal psychological, because I had already 3 mental and emotional breakdowns leading to that.
It's very emotional.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
a lot of people don't recognize the emotion. I mean, last week we had the rape. We were talking about the rape thing, and
rape culture.
although it's only been happening for the past month, people are exhausted emotionally.
Yeah. And the SRC presidency itself, and as myself as Siyanda individually, I don't know what other people would say, but my leadership style is being charismatic, it's being open, it's being one-on-one basis. I don't remove myself from the masses, and the word the masses is problematic on its own, but the masses, and I took things very personally. How I delivered things, how I spoke to everyone on campus. And when all these things happened, I felt it was on me and not the entire SRC, And so the emotional pressure onto all of this, and my academics are also slacking. My dad, whose nickname is Hitler, was also on the sidelines barking and saying, let this thing go. So one questions, what did I come at Rhodes to do? Vele, degree or this SRC business? And, leading to that, and an appreciative, and I can say this today, an appreciative student body that we have at Rhodes University. We are being spoon-fed, we live in a purple bubble, everything is so great, we think everything is as green, and we don't know the realities of outside. So the nature of our student body that's also apolitical, that cannot deal, there's political education missing in this space, that then attacks the SRC on issues that are really just simple. So you attack the SRC, are we not supposed to be number one calling for a vote of no confidence? And last year there was no such thing as word of vote of no confidence last year, So a student body of that nature would obviously personally attack an individual, not the institution that is the SRC, and so one takes it personal. Yeah.
Just a quick question. Did you think that this was going to have such an impact on the student body, your tweet specifically?
Not at all. I'm known to be spicy on the Twitter streets.
Exactly. I followed you for the longest time. I know you as that person, but when somebody screenshotted that tweet and posted it, I was like, okay, I didn't see anything wrong at the time when you had posted it.
Yeah, I'm rightly captured when she says that I was the scapegoat of that time. And everyone always looks for the scapegoat. I don't want to compare myself to the greats here. Margaret Thatcher had to resign, the greatest prime minister in British history. Thabo Mbeki, our very own president, had to resign. History teaches that there's always a scapegoat in anything else. Not comparing myself, but I was also a scapegoat of that time. And all frustration was then pointed to Siyanda. And then I resigned, but issues remained even with my resignations. So... Yeah.
That is Siyanda Makhubo.
Exactly. And if you've just tuned in, you are still listening to the Freeway Drop right here on RMR 89.7 FM.
You are still hanging out with myself and Mazwai and Fufu Mia and the F word drop. Please do join in on the conversation. WhatsApp 061 064 4171 061 064 4171. On Twitter, tweet us at Mfundiso_M or at Nzikimazwai or at RMR 9. What is it? 90? 89.7.
No, it's 897. Not there's no point.
Yeah.
It's at RMR 897.
I'm still new.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I
it's
just
okay.
get one strike.
It's okay. One strike.
One
Two
strike.
more. You're out. Two more. You're
No,
out.
but we got such dope guests that I think I'm still in, yo. We're hanging out with Siyanda Makhubo, who is the old SRC president. Very interesting conversation about the tweet that made him resign. We are still gonna unpack social media with Joseph Minde, who has actually studied this stuff,
I did.
So let's talk about it a little bit. I mean, where does freedom of expression end and where does the violation of human rights begin?
I feel like whenever you belong to a certain institution, a certain company, like your brand on social media is gonna represent their brand, even if people know it's not logical, they're immediately gonna connect something you say to your whole brand, to whichever company you work for. So for in Siyanda's case, they put his whole attitude, this joke he made, they took it seriously and they put all their attitude on the SRC, saying this is how they portray themselves on a regular basis. Like, how can we trust them? So even though that's why a lot of companies in their contracts with employees put that on social media, especially news companies, that don't say silly things, don't say things, controversial stuff that will get you in trouble because it's going to reflect badly on us.
Okay, so there's policies in contracts now.
Yes, there is. It's a big thing because there's a lot of cases where that stuff has happened, where companies have had to fire someone or break away from someone because of the stuff they say on social media. Gareth Cliff, for example. Yeah. Even though we ended up suing.
Though? I mean, how come your jurisdiction as a person on Twitter, Fufu, what is wrong with you? You're so quiet today just because we got good-looking men in studio.
Oh my God.
What the hell's going on with you, girl?
Listen, can I not be, put on the spotlight? Okay, fine. Can I not be put on the spotlight, though? I was just thinking about this whole thing. Because I say a lot of crap on social media.
Yeah.
And I worry every single day that, I'm going to be applying for a job. And then they're going to be like, okay, let's pull out your social media record. I worry a lot.
Yeah.
And can I just tell you a story that one of my lecturers asked us to do an exercise to stalk each other in class. And then what you had to do was stalk a person for a month or two, online, from their blogs to Facebook to everything. And when they did the presentation on me, I had to actually start thinking about myself. I started going to my Facebook and locking pictures and started deleting stuff because I was so worried. There was a whole section that this person titled "Yay Alcohol." Because that was me on social media. And sometimes I worry about how I portray myself, and sometimes I'm like, actually it's me. Why should I hide how I feel? So
that's why you always have to Google yourself before anything. Google yourself before an interview. See what images come up, see what stories come up. You'll be surprised of the stuff that comes up. A post your friend tagged you in 2 years ago where you were wasted or something. The company's gonna bring that up and you're gonna be like, oh no, I messed up.
I mean, Siyanda?
Yeah,
sure
well,
you got something to say?
Yeah, definitely. My aunt is an industrial psychologist and she's basically consulting for HR managers. She's with Coca-Cola right now. She's been asked to write their psychometrics tests for interviewees. And one of the things now they ask is your Facebook name, your Twitter handle, your Instagram, So what do you say on the Facebook or on the Twitter? So they follow these things.
But as somebody who's been on the receiving end,
yes.
The fairness and the freedom of expression and, tell me an honest
opinion.
Yeah, yes. Not the right version or what the laws are.
Don't be
just
politically correct.
We're in the same class. We're doing a postgraduate diploma in media management. And I argued this in class. And everyone didn't understand where I was coming from. Joseph would remember this about 2 weeks ago. And I argued, we were doing something on Facebook. I argued that, Section 16 of our Constitution, the right to freedom of expression, And I argued that would you not want someone to be truthful about themselves, what their character is? And that is what we get on social media. You know who you're employing here. Is this person going to be absent on Mondays or Fridays? You know, are they going to be traveling a lot? Are they going to be making stories about being late? And then as an employer, you want to know the truth, you know?
Absolutely.
So you want the honest version of this person
Yeah.
that's coming, not the pretty nice person, you know.
Yeah.
I argued, and I also argued that, well, this is in the journalism sector, that you want to employ truthful journalists, people who really say what needs to be said. You know, I follow news, and sometimes I feel like this is a facade. We will be putting up fake news. I want to know what the journalist behind this article really thinks about this. I want the citizens to understand that it's not News 24 that's saying this. It is the journalist who covered. Sure, the journalist has done the story. It's beautiful punctuation and. But what is the journalist saying about the things that are not on the news article, the behind the scenes? You know, we had early in January a meeting with the Minister of Higher Education, Minde, with other SRCs. In between the interviews, he says snarks comments, and he was captured last year with
I remember that
maybe
too.
students must fall, but
Yeah,
the camera was
yes.
on.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know how many things go on when
Behind
the
the
camera is
camera.
off.
Exactly.
So we want to know what the journalist is saying, precisely in the journalist industry. What is happening when the pen or the records or the cameras are off? And journalists should be able to say these things. So I, as a citizen, is informed of the real issues.
Yeah.
So,
Big ups to your punctuation, big ups to your grammar and that nice article. Job well done. But what are you as a journalist really saying about the news article?
Are you
you just
trying
wrote?
to? I want to understand it more. Are you trying to say that journalists have the right to say whatever they want on social media?
Sure. And we should understand as citizenry. This goes back to what I always say, that we need to educate our our citizens about these things. But citizens must understand that it should not reflect to whatever company that you're employed with. These are not the standards. And
Yeah.
someone always has these, I think it was Khali, who likes having it in her bio. These do not,
disclaimer,
yeah.
And that
Yeah.
stuff doesn't even work anymore. Eh? People still get called in even though they have that in their bio.
Okay, so
Because then, sorry to just, then Thabo Mbeki just released a series of letters. Why couldn't he say that he was still president? Why do we have to wait for someone to be former to say these things? Because what about the institution itself that still stands? He was president of the country, the union building still stand. And he's telling us about secrets and the happenings that are happening behind the scenes of the ANC. Now we know, but the ANC still remains. So, you look, these are the issues I like to say that you need to grapple with.
okay, so now you've got your freedom. You're a journalist. Whatever you say does not reflect on, News 24, whatever. So now should people be held accountable for whatever they say? By not necessarily the people, but by their employers. Say you're a journalist for News 24. Should News 24 hold you accountable for what you say?
Look, social media is becoming a revolution. It's actually becoming a primary media. I mean, media is information. And would be great for journalists to tell us what's truthfully happening, A lot of newspapers are pro or anti. Your Mail and Guardian would obviously be the watchdog, on our behalf as citizens to the state. But Daily Sun would never be against government. They're pro-community and not holding the government to account. But it would be nice to hear what journalists say,
Yeah, but then I think you're confusing truth with saying spice. Like, because those are two different things. Like throwing spice and telling the truth is totally different. If you're throwing spice, it seems like you just feel like your opinion matters more than other people, and you're like looking down on others. But saying the truth, like, that's the truth. You can't deny it.
Sure. I mean, spice is something else, and this is what I also always argue, and that is why I've been quiet on Twitter for so long, because people are spicy.
Yeah.
And people
Very.
seek relevance, especially on
Yeah.
Twitter. And I agree. There needs to be obviously that accountability measures. But I still feel we still need to know what's happening. Articles are written over and over again, but we don't know the real deal. What people feel. How was it for you as a journalist to be in the same room when a media conference was granted by Ugwete Mantashe? What did he say? How do you really feel? Not according to the standards of your company. Because now this is the independent, what do they call the right term? This is the independent agency as you as a person. You do have values. You know, what do you think about this? And it should be us as citizens who should be able to take it or not take it. After all, we're not forced, to take information. We choose to take the information.
Joseph.
Yeah.
So now, I saw you deep in thought as speaking. And I want
Joseph thinks I'm problematic every time.
You know, the thing is, we gotta have both sides of the story because everybody's got a point,
Yeah.
you know. So how do you feel about?
I feel like ultimately, like, if you are representing a big company, you do kind of have to portray a certain image. Like, ultimately, everybody knows that people have their bad habits. Some people are ruder than they seem, but like, when you're in front of a company, in front of an institution, you do have to portray that image. Not because it's the truth, but because it's what the people need. What the people need to see from you.
And they've
You need
hired
to,
you.
you need to like lead by example. So like, if you're the president of the United States, like, sending a tweet out that is kind of problematic is throwing spice, even if it's in like even if it's the most shallow spice ever, it's still gonna have an impact.
But then what
People
happens,
never look at you the same.
What happens when he's former president and then releases memos of the presidency?
Yeah, that makes it different because ultimately, at the end of the day, he's not part of that institution.
It's
anymore.
not like
He
when
can
he's
do whatever
former
he wants.
president, the institution is abolished. There's no more White House. It's gone. You get what I mean? I would love to know what Dr. Mabizela, the VC of the institution,
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm sure we'd love to know that. But,
But that
imagine,
is
I know
imagine,
that means we have to draw the line between personal life and
Yeah.
public life.
Yeah.
Imagine if he comes out right now during the protest and says like, I actually don't like this at all. Like, what's gonna happen next? He's gonna be fired. Like,
Yeah.
Rhodes can't allow that to happen.
And that's
It's
unfortunate.
just, that's why the media is always portraying a good image. We have to learn that lesson, I guess. That everything you see is a
I'm
facade.
so disappointed.
really-
This Joseph guy is too mature. Can you just guess, please?
No, Joseph, but is it really clean image?
It's a facade. That's what I'm saying. It's fake.
So
Everything
then,
you see
if
is
it's
fake.
fake,
Then what's the point if it's a fake
That's
image?
because that's what society likes. At the end of the day, it's a sad truth. We live
society
in a
likes fake.
They like fake. They don't like real.
Yeah, we
if-
kind of do like.
I
all
want the
same
kitchen talk of
days.
Penny
Everybody
Sparrow.
wants that.
I
Everybody
want
wants
to
that.
I
hear
also want
that.
the
I want to interrogate that,
But
know?
then-
And not because I'm spicy, but
Yeah.
because I want to know what are the deep underlying issues.
Yes, you do, you
You know
do.
what I mean? I want to know why, for instance, and this is a problem for me as someone who comes from Pretoria. I want to know why every time when I pass white people in the mall, they give me that young smile.
Yeah.
Kitchen talk conversations. I want to know that. And I feel like this facade ballooning. What are the issues?
Imagine
Do you get
if
what I mean?
everybody told the truth, like what would come out. The world
That
wouldn't
would
be a
be
safe
great.
place. It wouldn't be a safe place.
I would love that.
I promise you, there'll be World War III tomorrow morning. By the time you wake up, if everybody told the truth, there's just too many secrets, too many bad people, too many bad things. Call me a pessimistic person, but like it's all a facade, guys. Everything.
But then what about personalities? And this is why I enjoy her so much, Wendy Williams. She's
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to deliver it. And I
Yeah.
always say it's about the delivery.
Mhm.
The tone, how you do it.
Much like social media.
Say crap at the end, say
Yeah.
dear.
Yeah.
It's
It's about touching it up.
It's a tone.
Yeah.
And I've learned how to do that so well. And people now come to me, Siyanda, what do you think of my hair? I'll give it to you because I don't have filter and I'm raw, and I feel like I'm called in society to be that person, say it.
Yeah. But then
Yeah,
I feel
at the end.
I feel on that part like the image you portrayed before your election and then like that tweet was kind of different because like not many people knew your joking side. Everybody thought you were just like the serious person. You were like always on
Serious
cue.
person.
I promise you. And then like I was in class with you this year. Then I was like, actually, this guy's not serious at all. That's because I was surprised by that tweet. So maybe that's why people were also shocked.
Okay, and things are getting heated up in the studio. Let's go for a musical break. We'll be back after this.
All right, here we go. That was my brr with the weekend special.
Yes.
Yeah, see yo. Yo, Bangari, yo.
Hey, Little Santa.
Topless.
Aren't you guys too young to know that though?
Oh,
No way.
uncle. It's a PC uncle.
What are you talking about? No, guys, what are you talking about? Nah, I used to watch it every Friday at 6:30. Guys, what is that?
Oh, guys, no order.
Oh my god. Okay, back to the business of social media.
Such a mess.
I have a WhatsApp here. It says for Mr. Makhubo. What are your comments on the role played by social media in political affairs around campus? And do you think we are in a stable political landscape? This is from Ulandiso at Adamson House.
No, we're not in a stable political, you know. The politics of Rhodes University are personal politics. We will attack Siyanda, who's on the SRC. We will not question the SRC on its own. It's happening now. A typical example, there was a board, people are occupying the SRC offices, and pictures were written and depicted on what we think of individuals, not what we think on the SRC. So that we don't have a stable foundation of politics on this. There are no politics in actual fact. SASCO is trying, they're emerging with politics, you know, but it's going to take time to educate our student body. And my comments on social media and what it means for our politics, it's surely helping. Rhodes University was a small university, at least 3,500 people on campus and on a Jerome. We are, when an issue comes up, we trend on Twitter because we have the necessary equipment and resources to be able to be on that presence. Yes, we're making enough noise, but if you follow what it says, I mean, there's typical accounts. There's at least 12 accounts that make the most noise. It's spice, it's unnecessary tweets, it's again not grappling with the issues. Are your reference list? Are we really grappling to understand what the list means? For me, the list was not about who was on the list. The list was about it creating a conversation. You know, it's the umbrella.
Absolutely.
You know, there's other issues, there's poverty in there, socio-economic, socio-political, you know, and. The list was not about who. But Rhodes took it as, oh, even this guy. Oh, even that one. Oh, yes, I remember they spoke about him in the dining hall. You know, then it becomes Shwashu in the Sunday Sun.
Yeah.
You know, so we have not reached that political mature age. And then our social media is not helping. The Rhodes SRC page when I was president, I wanted to use authority to close it down. My evaluate the page because it's problematic in its own. You know, you look at who gets the like. It's the context of likes on that page.
Popularity.
You know,
contest.
I put on a post about. I'm Speaker of Parliament right now. Put up a post about. I'm not saying I want likes, but it's a typical example. I put up a post about educating the student body about how to move for a vote of no confidence against the SRC. 6 likes. I put up a post about a meme about Prime or the weather.
A generic meme.
You know, about the weather in
That
Grahamstown.
is true.
500 likes,
Yeah.
shares, and people comment and laughing.
Exactly.
And the political climate tells you we need to be educated about the constitution, not about this meme. And that's a typical example. You know, so our politics we're not matured. We would like to think we're matured. Number 2, our social media is also not helping. Dr. Fori, the registrar, has actually closed down our AGRO because we're not using what we should,
That's a
could
drastic step.
you know,
Yeah.
benefiting from. You know, and if I was registrar, would have done that a long time ago.
You know, I'm still a new rodent, so I'm not quite sure of all the politics of the students. But I am hearing that you want the SRC disbanded. Please break that down for me.
Again, it's social media. It has to do with social media. One of their counselors exposed, we won't get into the merits of what she exposed, but she exposed something that was not supposed to be known by the greater student body. And now the student body are angry because the SRC hid something. But you see, politics again. They are a body. They're entitled to hide things from us. Laws. There's a general laws, administrative law on that. When you sign up a contract with a company, these things you can't say. You know, house comm in your race. These things you can't say. It's just simple. It's politics. What the student body should be having a conversation is, how can we change the constitution to empower us against what the SRC can be able to do? That's it. Not what the council exposed, who said what, and why they said that. No. That is not the issue. Again, the list. She exposed this thing. We should be using what she exposed, not the merits of what she exposed, but how. What can we do about the exposure of this?
Joseph,
Yeah.
please give us the mature perspective to what we're dealing with here. I mean, our ways around social networks, maybe the do's and the don'ts, and you know.
Okay. Do have fun. I mean, ultimately, to have fun on social media, you have to, like, being on social media, you want to be seen. You want to get likes. You want to get attention
Followers.
in a way. You want to get followers. It's all a contest, popularity contest. And unfortunately, the people who win that contest are the people who post generic things, memes we've seen a million times before, crack the same jokes, and try to be even spicier at times to get those likes. So like, yeah, I would say do try to have fun, do try to get followers, but don't do that at the risk of trying to sound too controversial, trying to say something that's out of character just so you can get likes, because ultimately that's what's going to get you in trouble. That's what the public is going to screenshot and post on the SRC page. And yeah.
And when is it, I mean, how do we draw that line we were talking about between perception, you know what I'm saying?
It's a tough line. Ask a friend, man. Show it to 3 people before you post
No
it.
way. I am not going to be showing my friends my tweets.
Even if you're just like tweeting a full stop, like show it to people. Like, is this gonna offend someone? Tell me now, you know, because otherwise it might blow up in your face.
Yeah. My rule, you know, with anything posting or publishing anything, if I have to think about it 3 times, maybe I should not post.
It's not
it.
safe.
Right.
It's not safe.
That is my rule.
Okay.
If I think about it 3 times, let's just not do it. Let's have kitchen table talk about it and then laugh and move on. Maybe the masses should not know about this, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
how many times do you think about the tweet you sent the other time?
Ooh, that's just a Jerome wife.
Where's the Wi-Fi?
Immediate
Here now.
What?
Tweet now.
It was a matter I didn't think about it, you know. And considering Mfundiso is right, considering the tweets I've already tweeted, you know.
Yeah.
There's a history, there's a precedent of that tweet was not like how.
Yeah, you
So
can.
what
Usiana's
should
always
happen?
posting about Ngandweni Christ and Meseras. What spice is this now?
Yeah,
You
I
know,
guess that's a good way to
I've
get it.
been saying things like that, you know. My followers understand, they
Yeah.
retweet stuff, you know. So it wasn't like how hey my babo,
this guy?
you know, just being like that, you know. So
Okay, so before we just close off this section, the benefits of social media.
Oh yes,
The
oh,
The
benefits.
benefits of social media. We've been so negative
Yeah,
about
yeah,
posting
yeah.
spice.
Yeah.
Some of the benefits of social media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when you do post good stuff on social media, you could be like a phenomenon. Like there's this guy called the Fat Jew. Like he posts memes, random memes, like they're funny and stuff, and like he got a show from Comedy Central just from doing that.
Oh wow.
He's got his own show. Like people like blow up like Vines, for example, on social media.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
I
people
love
are stars
Vines.
now.
Yeah.
They go from like being on social media to becoming Vine stars to getting called up for a movie, and like the rest is history. So like social media is a great platform for you to market yourself, for you to make a brand of yourself, to do something special. And if you're unique enough, you're definitely gonna get views, because everybody has a cell phone nowadays. Everybody has access to YouTube. It's so easy. So like it's the easiest way to publicize yourself, to start up a business, to start up your own comedy career, singing career or something.
Definitely. I mean, social media for me, when it's back, just putting it out there, I have an MC business happening back in the Gauteng, and I already have weddings booked for December and January next year.
Wow.
You know, so through social media, because apparently I write so well. Don't know where that comes from, but I write so well on Facebook, and you know, people then, you know, associate that, and apparently I speak so well. So I've been asked on a number of occasions to motivate and to MC, you know. So yeah, so to a certain extent it has worked for me, you
It
know.
helps you to sell yourself.
Yeah.
I've received
Easiest
phone
way.
calls from powerful people, you know,
Mm-hmm.
have your input on radio discussions, Power FM. You know, there was something I used to do once a week on Power FM. You know, so to a certain extent, it has helped for me. You know,
Yeah.
but will I go on the YouTube? No, you know, it's just purely on writing and, you know, responding.
Yeah.
Still spicy, but with maturity. If you get
Yeah.
what I mean. So the Siyanda
Yeah.
from last year is definitely not the Siyanda of this year. You know.
And it mustn't be the same one next year.
it shouldn't. You know.
Joseph, just before we go off, I just remembered Pulani.
Yeah.
I just remembered it,
Oh,
Pulani.
do
I
that
just-
too.
What's this?
In terms of social media and the law and sharing of pictures,
Yeah.
if you remember, I don't know if it was Pulani's boyfriend that dropped that news.
Hey, we
though.
don't know.
I don't
What
know if it
happened?
was Pulani's, but there was the news that went viral.
Mm.
Don't you remember Pulani? I mean, we all know
No.
Pulani.
Oh,
Where are
on
you?
Twitter.
On
Yes,
Twitter.
it was on Twitter.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Is this the soccer stars? Was he a soccer star?
Well, now she is with a soccer star.
Okay. I think I know what we're talking about.
You know what reality talk is about? All kinds of information, and people do need to know gossip too.
Of course, but
I would have been Twitter if
Yeah.
the gossip was
yeah.
But basically, a nude of hers was dropped. Very beautiful nude. It was.
Very beautiful.
She got a body.
Oh my god.
Anyways, but she didn't like the attention after
Yeah.
a while, and she was like, "No." Then she got her lawyers involved, and everybody had to take it off Twitter. I mean, what are the laws in terms of sharing pictures that have been
like sharing defamatory stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Even like liking a defamatory status,
Yeah.
like retweeting it.
Yeah.
A lot of people see that as an endorsement, and by doing that, ultimately you're putting yourself at risk of also being sued, because like a part of a lawsuit suing against defamation would be that you shared it on a public forum, you endorse it on a public forum where other people could see. By sharing something, you're increasing its audience. So ultimately, you're making yourself accountable for the destruction of this person's character.
Yeah.
So it's very shady. If you see something funny but controversial, just like laugh on the inside and don't share it.
Kitchen table talk.
Yeah.
See why we like you, Joseph. The rest of this class members like
We were
spice.
like,
I want to see what I feel. Then we got the voice of reason called Joseph
think
Minde.
it through.
What a man, guys! Thank you so much.
No, it's not pleasure.
Not really. He's not like us.
Spice
I know. Thank you so much for coming through, you guys.
Sure.
It has been very fulfilling, and the studio
Guys,
has looked very good
listen.
looking for the evening.
Listen, if you've just joined the show, you just missed out, guys. You are still listening to the Fruit Drop right here on RMR 89.7 FM.
89.7 FM.